standard and sorry about that.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
okay.
actually used to be a title rep in the metro area, and we have moved to Texas, and I now sell helical piers and foundation repair. So a little bit of a shift for me, but I do have a passion for vision boards, business planning, goals. All that is just really in my wheelhouse, and a practice that I started many years ago working for a lender. I did her marketing and social media, that kind of thing. And she was really into goal setting, coaching. And I kind of watched the power of it work in her life. And I thought, well, then I should be doing this and taking it seriously, because it's one thing to, everybody talks about, oh, you should do that, write down your goals. And so few of us actually do it. But when you see the power of it working in someone else's life, it's pretty easy to adopt on your own. And one of the benefits to doing this is, I don't know I know the layman's term for it, not the neurological terms, but essentially when you write things down, you encode it on your brain, and it creates a greater impact than if you just think about it. And so it does something with all the little wires in your head that makes it more powerful. And then you have a generation effect where if you write something down and you have it in your brain, you're twice as likely to accomplish whatever that happens to be. It's a neurological phenomenon. You can Google it. It's I don't know all the science behind it. I just know that it works. So that's where we're at. So why we set goals is to kind of put a plan in place for our long-term, short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Where do we want to be in a year? Where do we want to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be in 10 years? And kind of work backwards from where I'd like to be versus where I am, and how do I chart a path to get there? And if you do this, I think you find that it's pretty remarkable what you can accomplish, and what happens when you have a vision and a plan, and you just kind of fuel your passion there. One of the things that I've seen is, particularly, this is my favorite story from my the gal that I worked with. She wrote down a letter like, in 5 years, I want to right. The only thing she ended up doing is going to Italy, and that would have landed during COVID, but we got it out about she found it in a drawer 2.5 years later, and we got out, we read it, and we just looked at this. A lot of them were business goals, and she'd already accomplished most of it, except for going to Italy, which she still hasn't been. But that's neither here nor there. The point being, it wasn't like she was sitting and looking at it every day on her wall, reading it. And just the fact that she wrote it down, it just did something. It changes the synapses in your brain, and you're more likely to accomplish what you're hoping to do. And I think what you need to think about also is, what motivates you? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's your big, at the end of the day, when things get hard, when the day doesn't go well, when the calls don't go right, when the deal doesn't close, or whatever you're facing, what keeps you going? And if you have a compelling reason to keep you going, you're far more likely to stay on track if you can really hone in and identify what that is. And one of the other things I like to stress is that simple disciplines, if you haven't read the book, The Compound Effect, I highly recommend it. He talks about how if you read 10 pages a day for a year, even though you sit down, you think, why would I only spend 15 minutes doing something? You always think it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. But when you add up little bits of time, they compound exponentially over the course of a year. And it's just amazing. He does a couple of illustrations in the book with, if you increase your calories by 200 calories a day, how much weight you gain in a year, which is more than you think, or versus if you cut 200 calories out and you didn't change anything else. And it's just amazing how small disciplines lead to big results. And so as you kind of go through your life, think about the small disciplines and the things you want to put in place to grow and to be on a path of where you're going. And what would that look like? If I'm making sense. If you have questions or you have some thoughts, go ahead and interrupt me. Did you guys get this? Okay, so you may not be able to figure out right now, but if you can, you can write down, like, what is it that gets you out? Is it your kids? You have a vacation? You want a house? Like, what are some things that contribute to why you do what you do? You can share or not share.
So it was funny. One time with Sensi Graves, I did like a success 1 hour meeting with her, and she was always asking me, why are you doing this? Why are you choosing this? Why? And at the fifth or sixth time of her why, I was like, I actually got to it. I actually got to the bottom of it. And it was, yeah, because of my kids, making a better life for my kids.
Yeah. Kids are motivating.
They are.
It's motivating for sure.
Even if they give you colds all the time.
Oh, yes. But worth it.
Right.
There can just be so many reasons why beyond, kids. For me, one of the big things I think about now that my kids are grown is what kind of impact can I have on the world at large and just my day to day and people I'm interacting with? What's my impact look like? And how am I changing the world for the better? And am I putting myself in there's a lot of things. It doesn't have to be just one thing. Your big why can be several things.
Yeah. To add on to that, I would say for me, my why definitely is obviously just having a solid income stream, but also being able to work for myself, being able to be my own boss, being able to make my own schedule, being able to work wherever I want, when I want. That's a really important thing for me. I spent a few years working in corporate and working in an office, and it was very much something I did not like to do. And I really wanted to kind of find my own path and be able to um, really understand the business world and just kind of um, work for myself, basically. And I was really tired of working for other people and doing work that I didn't enjoy. So I think that's just one of the main things for me, especially at least at this point in my life.
I love that. I know I don't do well with a lot of supervision or a micromanager, or I need a lot of space and a lot of freedom to, yeah. And to be tied down to an office I'm never going to thrive in that kind of a situation. Good for you. Good for you for figuring that out.
Thank you.
And so once you know why you want to do what you do, it helps you to, like I said, it helps you stay motivated when it's hard to do the things that are hard. And this isn't a game show. Every day isn't fun. Every day you have setbacks. And so knowing why you're doing what you're doing and the big picture of, hey, this is hard, but I don't have to go to an office. Or this is hard, but I get to create my own schedule, even though I maybe don't have a paycheck every 2 weeks, like somebody who's sitting in an office. And it helps you just to really get through those difficult times. And so from there, you want to look at in 10 years, where do you want to be? Where do you want to live? What vacations do you want to have? How many kids do you want to have? How many dogs do you want to have? Do you still want to be in the job you're in? Do you want to lead a team? Do you want to have employees? What does that look like? And so we can start to think about what is my life going to look like in 10 years? It's 2033. Had a couple of presidential elections. Things have changed. I don't know how, but yeah, things will be, what is that going to look like for you? And 10 years is here before you know it.
In 10 years?
Yeah, in 10 years. Somebody want to tell me where they see themselves?
I'd like to be semi-retired. And I'd like to be taking a couple of really nice vacations every year, but I still want to work part-time because I enjoy it so much. And so I think I'd like a really nice balance of it all and be enjoying all of it. If that makes any sense.
No, it totally does. It absolutely makes sense. I'm in the same boat with you. I don't know that I want to be fully retired, but I'll be in the right age to be thinking about that for sure. And I'd like to keep my foot in the door, but also have a little more freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
A little more fun, a little more out the door on a jet plane heading.
Yeah. One of the things that scares me about retirement is that the world is changing so fast, technologically and politically, and in so many ways. And I feel that by retiring full time, I'll be left behind. I won't be learning as much. And so it's important for me to stay abreast, at least to some degree, stay abreast of what's going on.
I think you bring up a really important point of how you stay connected in the world because of mostly, I think, because of technology and where it's headed. I mean, if you look back 10 years ago, did you dream that you could write me a story about a dog and a cat in San Francisco and have a story spit out in 30 seconds on
Absolutely
ChatGPT?
not.
Like
Yeah.
it's just, and when you think about information and how fast things are changing at such a rapid rate relative to what they were 20 years ago.
Right. And I think by retiring full time, I don't know, I feel I would be somehow disconnected from contemporary changes.
I think the same thing. And I don't know if we're right or wrong, but I definitely feel the same way that if I were just left to my own devices, I'd probably travel and spend all my days with a paintbrush in my hand and a canvas, and I wouldn't be keeping up on anything remotely technical.
Yeah, exactly.
So from there, you want to look at like 5 years. 5 years from now, it's 2023, it's 2028. Where are you? What does that look like?
Opening up Switzerland and opening EXP up in Switzerland.
Absolutely.
Oh, great.
I love that. I love that.
Sounds fantastic.
Yes,
I'll
and
join you,
it's funny.
Janine.
What was
I'll
that?
be your assistant, Janine.
Oh, you're my partner. You're gonna come try. You're gonna go and do it with me. We'll go over there.
I love Switzerland.
And are you going to host a party there?
That's one of my dreams. I love
Can
it.
you
In a
invite
Swiss
me?
chalet up in the Alps. Yes.
So on our 5-year vision, we should all have attend Janine's party in Switzerland.
Yes.
Wouldn't that just be amazing?
Yes, I just got a message on LinkedIn from, it's funny, he used to be my ex-boyfriend, but he's in real estate in Switzerland. So we're chatting away now. So it's pretty fun.
That's fun.
It's really fun to watch your old relationships become new relationships and how they evolve over time, and just it's pretty fun.
In 5 years' time, I would say, of course, I would like to expand obviously on my business and be working. I would like to not only help people in real estate individuals brand their business and make their business work and build a large clientele, but I would also like to be helping smaller startup businesses, specifically in certain metropolitan areas that are very kind of niche-based businesses, and help them develop their brand and help them develop their marketing strategies to really spread the level of creativity that I see quite often in startup businesses. Here in Portland, I live in Portland, and there's a lot of different niche businesses that are often created and built here in Portland that I find to be really fascinating. And I love the idea of being able to spread creativity and help spread creativity and help, not only that, but just help individuals who are really just getting started, help them build their business. And that to me is something that I really enjoy and I'm really looking forward to in the future. So that's just one of the things that I see in my 5 years. Yeah.
Do you brand? What is your specialty?
So I'm a digital marketing specialist.
Okay.
Yeah. So I basically kind of similar to you, but instead of obviously developing a business plan, I develop a marketing strategy, a marketing campaign strategy plan. And I do all of the different aspects of digital marketing. So that includes branding, that includes graphic design, video editing, photo editing, copywriting, SEO, all of that. Yeah.
And then you get to watch people grow and develop, and you've been such a huge part of their story. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's always the goal, and that's always what I strive to do, and it's been great so far.
And yes, just a shout out. You've been wonderful. Tyron just helped me with my YouTube videos, doing a website, and yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun working with Janine.
Well, Janine's a good time, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
Yes,
So
a very
from
good.
5 year, we want to look at 1 year. So when we meet again next year, what have you accomplished? What are you going to tell us? What have you done?
Well, I'm really hoping that the real estate market will have recovered fully and we will all be selling and buying real estate like hotcakes.
That would be lovely.
That's my goal anyway. So at least 1 to 2 properties every month on average.
That's an excellent goal. And so you might want to consider, I don't know what your niche is in terms of who you're marketing to, but that might play into how you choose to position yourself over the next year.
Good point. I've been kind of inclined towards senior citizens who are downsizing, and they're the ones that have the most cash.
Yes.
But I've also heard, and I think our team leader, Randy, is also foreseeing the foreclosure market to grow. And so that might be another niche to explore and get certified in.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's actually a very, very good idea. I have my parents, just to add on to that, Shalina, and my parents a couple of years back downsized, and they had a large condo property that they were able to sell very, very quickly when the market obviously was still very good.
Oh, good timing.
Yes. So they sold it immediately. They had a bunch of offers right away. And so they downsized and they were able to pay off their new home completely.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I think that's actually a very good position to have, good market to go to, because that's typically where the money is and where people have money.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I'm no spring chicken myself, so I fit in right perfectly.
That's funny. Yeah, I think that's a great goal. And so the next thing we want to talk about is, like, I don't know, have all of you guys heard of SMART goals? Most people have. Every once in a while, I run into a group of people who haven't. So essentially, how we have these visions for what we want our life to look like in 5, 10, a year from now. So the thinking is, how do I develop a plan that will help me get there? The check's not coming in the mail. You know what I mean? We can't just wish our lives away. So we have to come up with a plan. That's why I asked you, like, how would you position yourself to make that a reality in today, with considering the market conditions? So putting some steps in place that will help us get there. So they have to be specific, measurable, something you can achieve, and relevant. If it's not relevant, you're not going to do it. And then time-based. So you can work this backwards to 10 years from now. What kind of things would you need to be starting now? Maybe it's a savings account for traveling, and maybe you just put $25 a month in it. But if you want, what kind of steps would you take that would get you there in 10 years, 5 years, in 1 year? And so the way this is, you might have to adjust this for your business model, but I'd like to have you look back last year and whatever, this is obviously listing appointments. If you're not a listing agent or a selling, if you're not a real estate agent, you kind of just have to say, whatever your goal was, maybe for clientele last year, did you hit your goal? You wanted to add 10 more clients to whatever it is you do. Did you hit that goal, or so when you look at this, think about whether or not you managed your goals last year. So for you, it might be number of clients served. I'm not sure how you measure what you do. Or maybe you didn't have a goal last year. Maybe you never thought about it. And that's okay too. If you didn't think about it, you had to think about it this year. And then just thinking about it will help you get there. You have a better chance of getting there when you're thinking about it versus not. So if you didn't necessarily think about that last year, think about, okay, where'd your business come from? Who's sending you business? And who's your sphere of influence? You can use these things to build on your next strategies.
You know, Julie, I should have done? I should have looked at my business plan from last year and just revised it before this Zoom. I just realized that. I'm like,
Well, it would be fun to have you get it out and see
Right.
what happened with it.
right. Yeah.
And so
Hmm.
since you did one last year, Janine, when you think about last year, what did you learn? What kind of lesson did you take away from?
Staying consistent. Follow-ups. The follow-ups are the most important. Staying consistent. Those two things.
Mm-hmm.
And the
I
follow-ups,
agree.
I have slacked on following up. So that's that you just brought me on that. Thank you. So that's one of my big goals for this year, are to really focus on the follow-up.
Yeah. And those can be hard, but especially with like a service-based business, follow-ups are so important because prospecting is so important for any kind of service-based business. And it can be really hard to remember to follow up for sure.
Follow-up is tough because we're always dependent on people to do whatever. I'm ready to sell in 2 months. Can you call me then? Well, now it's going to be 4. I want to start this
Yeah.
marketing campaign. We're always dependent on somebody else's time schedule, which is an absolute pain.
Yeah.
But following up and staying in front of them in a positive way will keep you top of mind, which is exactly what you want to be, regardless of what kind of business you're in.
Yeah.
And also one of the pitfalls of being a realtor is you do a lot of marketing and you do a lot of follow-up, and suddenly, you start getting the business. And then you get so involved in the paperwork and in the step-by-step process of each transaction that you tend to fall off on the marketing side. So then, it's kind of up and down. Ideally, it'd be nice to have both sides be consistent, that you're doing marketing regularly, and then you also have a couple, 2 to 3 transactions each month, and they kind of flow smoothly. But that's very difficult to achieve, I find.
Well,
Yeah.
let me make a suggestion in that the follow-up and the things you do to market yourself, if you can keep that in that idea of, if I can just devote, I don't know, whatever number is going to work for you, an hour a day to my social media, to my farm, whatever it is you do to promote your business.
It's 2 hours to maintain and 3 hours to grow. So yeah, it takes discipline to do that.
Yeah. So think
Well,
about, even if you have
not
to scale
even-
that back, doing something is better than doing nothing, even if it's
Right.
not at the pace you were hoping for, because you're
Right.
involved in closing real estate transactions. And that you have the opportunity down the road to hire a transaction coordinator.
Yes. Yes.
I was one for a year. Worst job of my life, I tell you.
Really?
Yeah, really. I am not a detail person. I don't enjoy the details. And at one point we had 30 in escrow, and I thought I would lose my mind.
Oh gosh.
Yes, delegate.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was the one getting delegated to. It was
Well,
funny that he was the
you're on the other
delegator
side
off
now,
at the
right?
golf course, which God bless him. He deserved it. He earned it. And that's why he hired me. But boy, I want to be the delegator, not the delegatee. That's what I've learned. So for whatever your business is, think about, like, what are you using for marketing, and how are you mailing? Are you cold calling? Are you farming? Are you networking? And think about maybe 3 things that are going to be they're going to be your 3 things, whether that is farming. Janine's got her YouTube channel going, and I know she does cold calls.
Yes.
So what are those going to be? And are you going to call expireds? And really make sure that you have 3 sources of solid marketing in place. I mean, they're all important and they all can play a role.
So right now, as you mentioned, I have cold calls, social media, and then referrals.
And if the adapt these to your business, if this isn't, obviously John, you're not farming. I'm kidding.
No, not in the traditional sense.
No, but you got networking and
Yeah.
online presence and some things like that.
Actually, maybe I don't know. What is farming? What is
Well,
that?
farming is where you focus on a neighborhood or a demographic and you send mailers. I call it gamble marketing. A lot of people use it, some successfully. It's not my favorite way. If it would be the route I would go, but I'm happy to help somebody put together a farm if they need one. And so those people, insurance agents do it. Like you get a postcard in the mail. Probably all of you have gotten a postcard in the mail from an insurance agent or a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
That's farming.
Farming is pretty typical within real estate for real estate agents when they're trying to determine where exactly they want to sell and who they want to reach out to, what like specific demographic as well as specific area, like literal a square footage, square mileage area that they're trying to actually to sell and to all of that. So it's a very similar, or it's a very common term in real estate.
Absolutely. And if you are in real estate and you want to farm, the first thing I would tell you, make sure whoever is pulling this farm, ask them for a turn ratio, because if it's too low or too high, you're just wasting money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ask the right questions so that you're not throwing your money down the drain. And know that if you choose to do that, consistency is important. And I don't mean you've got to be doing mailers at least monthly.
Wow.
It's a commitment. And if you're not going to keep it up, I would say don't start it, because
Right.
it's expensive and it's time consuming. Postage is not cheap.
Yeah. It's something I've considered, but like you, I feel it's hit and miss unless you have really good data and really good information about the neighborhood or the area.
And that's a lot of it's available. I mean, you can hone down to 1 level, 2 level. Is a dog friendly neighborhood? There's a lot you can do with your title rep to figure out, what that looks like. And if you want to go that route, go for it. But just really know what you're doing. Know the market, know the turn ratio and consistency. And I put a dollar amount. A lot of people would come to me and say, well, I want a 1,000-person farm. Well, can you afford 1,000 stamps every month? Then you're not going to do a 1,000-person farm. So think about what your budget is and really you kind of work backwards the same way we do with our goals. What's my goal here? What's my budget? What can I commit to? And that's how I would do it if I was going to farm.
Yeah, when I compare that to investing money in Google ads or Facebook ads or Instagram ads, I would think those would be far more effective.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's the direction that I'm choosing.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, Shalina, that definitely those are extremely beneficial, especially in real estate. So I definitely agree. That's a really good place. If you're in real estate specifically, that's a really, really good place to put your money as long as you are consistent with it. So it's a matter of keeping up with that marketing. If you're paying for ads, especially being consistent with it and making sure that you have those high quality ads is very, very important. So yeah, I agree. But prospecting is also extremely important.
Yeah, I like the fact that the people come to you. The cold calling is fine, but with the ads, it's nice that you get a call and say, can you please help me list my house?
Yes.
Janine's had a couple of those lately. How exciting, Janine.
Yeah. So that's really exciting when you get those calls. So that's why I'm shifting that from cold calling a little bit more to digital, that the people come to me instead of me reaching out.
Well, and then you got a warm lead, which is always very, very nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Cold leads are really rough to convert. So warm leads are much better.
Julie, are you familiar with any ways to farm for foreclosures? Like,
Yep. Are you using your title rep? If you're not,
no.
Are you in Washington or Oregon?
Washington.
I can give you a referral for somebody. You can be on a list. It's free or I think it's free in both states. Do you have to pay for it in Washington? I can't remember the laws.
I think we have to pay for it in Washington.
Yeah, I think you do. In Oregon, it's free, and you just need to call your title rep, and I can give you a couple names and tell them you want to be on the foreclosure list, notice of default list. Those come out, I think, Tuesdays, a couple times a week, and you just get an
Okay.
email on
Okay,
those.
that would be great.
Yeah.
I've used WFG mostly for escrow.
They're great.
Is that one of your referrals?
I worked for Old Republic, and I wouldn't necessarily refer you to anybody there. I would think about personality. That I always try to tie people to personality and somebody who I know is going to do a good job. And you can't go wrong at WFG. I mean, they're phenomenal.
Okay. And if you know anybody else that you could refer to me, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll connect. I'll put my information in the chat, and then I can give you an introduction.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. That's an easy free resource for you, for you to get your hands on, for sure.
Yeah.
And so something I didn't change the dates on this, I apologize. I like to have, what did you do last year in terms of transactions, commission, and just to kind of figure out where you were. Did you end up where you wanted to be? If not, what do we need to change in 2024? Holy cow. To get you there. What kind of changes can we make to move your business forward? And so again, if you're in a different industry, just kind of think about where you were and what maybe you need to change. What can we change? And so here's where we kind of get to brainstorm this a little bit. So what can you do next year? What are 3 activities you could add or do more of? Maybe if you're networking, go to teamwork, I don't know, join a B&I group along with whatever, take the lead or something. So what are 3 things you could do next year to help you increase revenue? What are 3, you could either add on, you could change something out. What would that look like? Did we have somebody who's a master at digital marketing on the call? I would take advantage of that and maybe connect with her and see that would be what I would do if I was in your shoes.
Yes. Happy to always connect. And Shalina and I have already connected.
You have, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're planning on meeting next week, actually. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I think that's, especially in real estate, that's for sure the way to go.
Yes. So for me, digital marketing is the big one. And then I want to do at least one open house every weekend, because that's worked really well for me in the past. And then I have never done any YouTube video. I haven't done videos of any kind. So that's another one that I really want to focus on.
Yes.
And start posting those on YouTube and Instagram and then of course the Google ads. So I think those 3 big changes I want to make. And I want to focus a little bit on foreclosure, see if I can make any progress there and continue focusing on the older, the senior citizens.
Excellent. For my specific business, I would like to, just looking kind of year-wise, my goal to change or certain things to change in 2024 is to, well, not necessarily change, but just to expand on and to improve on is, of course, prospecting. Prospecting is always really hard, especially when you're busy. But from my experience working in marketing and working just in affiliate marketing specifically, prospecting is just as important, especially in real estate. It's just as important as marketing. I say marketing and prospecting align very much in service-based businesses, especially real estate. And for me as a service-based business, they very much align. And it's something, prospecting in particular, is something that I haven't had a huge amount of time to do on my own at this point. So I would like to expand on that. And it's just a matter of disciplining myself, of course, and adding more time into my business plan for it. And then the other part would be just networking and actually physically meeting people, individuals, and going to events and continuing to actually face-to-face engage with individuals to let them know my services and to determine what it is that they are looking to improve on or looking to change in their business.
Awesome. John, how about you?
I'm currently redoing my website, and I am working with a company to build out a funnel, an automated funnel and
Nice.
CRM.
Fantastic.
So what's rough, and I think Shalina and a couple of us talked about this the other night, was as a solopreneur, you get bogged down by all the things. And so what can we automate? How do we turn one into, a few? So I've actually thought about hiring a salesperson, just trying to find those people that can be delegated to. Virtual assistants I've considered, but I have to have my own house in order to delegate to somebody else. So, but the automation thing is a big for me in the coming months.
No, that would be huge, and it frees you up to do what you do well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
John, I was going to say to you, and I may have the last week when we met, but when I was new in real estate, and I've seen other new realtors do this, is they'll go around asking, "Hey, who did you use to do your photos? Who did you use for your photos?" And so I would say that's the number one way that realtors pick their photographers. So I think referrals is a huge source, and I don't know how you can enhance that, but I would recommend that somehow work on your referrals.
Yeah, I'm trying to build up. Janine's good at this. Matter of fact, she reminds me that asking people for Google reviews.
Yes.
Get that local search up. And
Yes.
those reviews help. So
Can you
reviews.
do headshots at all?
Sorry?
Can you do headshots?
I have done a few. Because I'm a photographer in general first.
Okay.
And so I came to real estate because I build virtual tours. And so
Gotcha.
real estate photography was a natural climb. But I've shot families and headshots and landscapes, and I like a lot of different things. I am not the greatest portrait photographer you'll ever meet. So, it just depends, but I have shot some.
Well,
Okay.
here's an idea that I would throw out at you. You could partner with maybe a lender or an agent. And I think Christmas coming up, it might be too, I don't know if you could pull this off, but if you got you could take Santa pictures with real estate agent, because you want to meet agents and right? I mean, so where do they show up? They show up for free headshots.
There's
Sure.
the next event. No, that got me all excited.
They show up for free headshots. And
we'll do it, Janine.
On it.
Yeah, so you could put a twist on it and make it kind of fun, and maybe do a Santa shot with their kids.
Yeah, and I just would like to add on to that in regards to the Google business page. As Shalina mentioned, referrals are so important. So expanding and making sure that you're updating your Google business page and you're responding to any good reviews that you receive. Those sort of things are very, very beneficial in any kind of business, especially if you are focusing on Google, because Google is over 90% of searches in the world. So if somebody's searching photographer, real estate photographer, whatever, they're going to want to go through Google most likely to find someone, and they're going to want to look at reviews. They're going to want to see your photos. They're going to want to see your website. They're going to want to see your headshots, all of those different things. So yeah, I would definitely recommend investing in your Google business page for that reason.
Great advice. So the other thing we want to think about is how do we keep the clients we have? And as you all know, it's cheaper to keep a client than to find a new one. So what can you do to stay in touch with your sphere, your referral partners, your old clients? What kind of plans could you put in place to do that? Could be note cards, phone calls, pop buys, a lot of different ways to do that.
Yeah, I do handwritten notes every quarter to everybody. And then if I can, I deliver a homemade pumpkin pie, either at Christmas or Thanksgiving. And that's not easy to do because I've got a large SOI, but I do try to do that every now and then.
That's amazing. Most people just get them at Costco.
But I think the whole point of doing it homemade is to let them know I really care.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they don't have to look really pretty. They just have to taste okay.
Absolutely.
And then of course, calling them and having coffee meetups at least once or twice a year, that kind of thing. And when I do write or when I do talk, somehow or the other, I have to slip in this idea that, hey, I'm open for referrals. If your friends or family are looking, please keep me on your radar. So I always try to slip that in somehow. And it's not always easy because I don't want them to feel that the only reason I'm contacting them is for referrals. So it's a very delicate balance.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes
go ahead.
One of my mentors, he had a really good point, because sometimes when you call your friends, as you mentioned, you feel weird, but you can also start it off like this. I have my real estate cap right now on. And it suddenly breaks like, oh, okay, this is a business call. And then after, so you can say, okay, I'm taking my real estate cap off, and now let's talk about personal.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. That reminds me, I had a call yesterday from somebody who was trying to sell me some kind of a marketing platform service. And he had a beautiful voice. He was very polite, and he called and he said, hey, Shalina, this is a sales call. So I just want to check, do you have a few minutes for that? I thought that was really different and really interesting. And I was so impressed. I said, I really don't, but I'd like to talk to you. So call me this afternoon. I think that worked.
Oh, for sure. It puts you at ease, and you have the freedom to say, I don't have time right now, or let me hear what you have to say, and then I can make a decision if I want to continue the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have that knee-jerk reaction of, oh God, another salesperson. How do I get out of this?
Put it right there. So I could do that with recruiting too. This is a recruiting call.
I love that. That's really clever.
Yeah.
And so these two kind of, if you're going to keep your existing business, kind of ties into how do you, generate referrals, which is one of the best ways of staying in touch with your sphere.
Yes.
And maybe tie yourself to a local business. I've got an agent friend of mine who is frequently doing like a wine and sip at a clothing store, a little boutique. She's done it at a couple art galleries. So you're partnering with a local business. And who do you think they think of when somebody comes in and says, oh, we're going to sell our house? Oh, Shalina's in here all the time doing whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be, find your thing. And I think really partnering, being consistent, go to the same coffee shop, get to know the barista, just make yourself a known entity in your little world. Go be the mayor of whatever town you live in.
Yes. Using that same point, I was thinking when I do start doing videos, and I think I was telling John this the other day, I'd like to focus on different neighborhoods, and pick for example, a really nice coffee shop in Camas, for example, and do a little tour of it and tell people, oh, you really need to go visit Janine's coffee shop. It's really cute. And, and do one of those every week.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. So I just need to do it.
Yeah, the doing can be the hardest part. That's for sure. But
Yes.
yeah, and people like to be highlighted. I mean, the business owners like to be highlighted. And if you have a local coffee shop, go put your real estate hat in and do your paperwork there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the next, and if you need ideas for how to do that, if you're struggling, we can sort of brainstorm some of this. How can you upgrade the quality of services you're currently providing? Is there something you could do better or more thoroughly? I love Janine saying this is a recruiting call. That's, I want you to tell me how that goes.
That was just like poof. Yeah. Oh, personal growth. I think I want to help the team more with supporting them, motivating them. Just like this morning, I was on a Zoom or a video or a recording of a Zoom, and they were saying like also an event for buyers brokers agreement, because that's going to be coming up. So that will be something else, and that's when to grow. The personal growth is growing with the team and
Mhm.
making that change.
I skip ahead, yeah. I think go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
I just got
I was gonna
Tyron's
say-
connection.
Sorry. I was going to say that I've always prided myself on my customer service. I always want to feel like I want to be the Nordstrom of customer service. I want people to think of me as she's there whenever we show her, everything has been great, blah, blah, blah. So right from the get-go, I focused on that a lot. So I don't know. Janine's going to have to talk to me and figure out what other things I can do to improve the quality of my service.
I mean, this is something that, if you're doing well, you may not need any kind of, I should have stated that this may not, every area may not apply to you, or in varying degrees. And we'll see at the end, it all kind of ties together, because each year you're going to have a different struggle,
Yes.
or each quarter, kind of depending on where you're at in life. We have a lot of different facets of our life going on, and they're not all firing 10 cylinders perfectly all the time. And so
Right.
like looking at where am I out of balance, and bringing that back into balance is part of the exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So personal growth for me, I love that. It's probably my favorite thing. How can you grow personally next year? And what would that look like? For me, it's books, podcasts, mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Mentors
I think
who
we've got a challenging year coming up with the BAC fading away. So we're going to have to somehow pivot and refresh our perspective and figure out how we can educate our clients so that they fully understand what's going on, so that they can make the right decision for their buying transaction process. And it's a little bit scary, and we're really going to have to learn how to do that properly. So that's one of my biggest goals for next year. Is I don't want to shy away from buyers just because there's a possibility I won't get a commission. I've got to find a way to help them anyway, and still hopefully find a way to earn some commission. So to me, that's going to be the number one thing for next year. I've got to grow in that area so I can help them.
That's a big shift.
Randy and I were definitely going to help you with that.
Good. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that, because that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a huge one. How about you, John?
Sorry. Excuse me. I have a bit of that thing that the children spread around.
Yeah, they're good at it.
I think for me, I'm looking for people who have been there before. And so forums, industry experts from, could be varying industries, right? Here's a good example. Last year, Don Yoakum, that first time I met with you, Janine, we had this amazing talk about Don and his real estate experience. But the whole time I'm listening to him, I'm thinking about how it affects what I do, how to contact. So finding people that you can align yourselves with who are already doing the things that you want to do, or already have the type of sphere of influence that you want to have. So just try and find the right find the right people to align with.
I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do, because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And if somebody's already, go do what this successful person does and repeat what they're doing. You tweak it to your own needs. But I think that's really, really powerful. It's also super inspiring because it constantly paints a picture for you. They did it, I can do it.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really powerful. So the next couple have to do with things that are probably more fun. Like, do you need to work on improving your health? Do you need a multivitamin? Do you need to go on walks? And it doesn't have to be like, I need to lose 20 pounds. It could be, I need to just sit down and breathe and relax and not be so high strung, whatever that might look like. And again, this may be in perfect balance for you. Some of these may be in perfect balance.
Quitting the candy at night. Seriously, Halloween was a buster. I'm like, I was doing really good, and then it's like, now I'm back to like going into the kids' little candies. And I'm like, okay, this is just it. No more sugar at night.
That's funny. I love M&Ms. That's all we bought for Halloween candy. So plenty left over.
I have to apologize. I have another obligation to get to. So I wanted to say thank you, but I need to head out.
Oh, sure. Thank
Good
you for
to see you again,
Thank
John.
you, John.
Let me just point out quickly, if you do this wheel of life, it ties into all the goals. So if you have a 5 on finances, you can kind of go back.
Okay.
Or if you aren't doing anything fun. And so it tells you where you need to go back and kind of fill in the gaps. That's the wrap on that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. I hope it was beneficial.
Thank you, Julie. It has. Thanks.
And John, I'll contact you for that headshot event.
Let's do it. Okay.
And John, I'll text you afterwards. I have your number.
Hi, Tyron, you're back again.
I'm back. Yeah. Sorry, this is Taryn again.
No, it's good. You're all good. So essentially these this leads you, do you need to do more leisurely activities? Are you constantly working? Do you need to spend more time with your friends? And so the idea is, what could you do to make that happen? And I don't know if you're here when I showed John, this is the wheel of life. I try to do this every year, because every year one of these isn't where I would hope it would be. Because life isn't perfect, and we're not, we're constantly trying to readjust and figure out where do we need to pivot versus where we are. And so if your family and friends are down here at a 2 and your business and careers at a 10, you might want to balance that a little bit. And so the questions back here are designed to say, okay, do I need to focus on my health? Do I need to spend more time with friends and developing friendships? Am I not having any fun at all? And should I take up pickleball? Yes.
Janine, I wish you lived closer by. I'd talk you into doing pickleball with me.
I know, I wish too. I want to do something. I'm trying to find someone to play tennis or pickleball, just something. I wonder if there's like one day there's gonna be a virtual one where you can put up a mat and then you play virtual pickleball.
That is probably true. That is.
I don't know. I think that would be I feel like playing with a person is probably way more fun.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it was yesterday fun. For the first time, we got this Mario Kart set, Nintendo thing with the kids. But it was kind of fun because we played with someone in Seattle. And I was like, this would be a really good connection with my father in Hong Kong because he's so far away, and the call and the time. But then we could actually do some bonding with the kids with Super Mario.
Does he play Super Mario, your dad?
Not yet.
You
I
could
hope he will.
That's a great idea though, Janine.
It is. Yeah.
Granddad and grandsons and daughter. I mean,
right. So that I'm going to add that to my
precious bond.
Right. So that I want to add to my personal goals of making a better bondship between my kids and my father.
Yeah.
That's improving enhancing your family relationships.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's I like that, kind of ending it on that note, is being able to make sure that whatever your business plan entails, make sure to balance it out with having a healthy balance of life, and making sure that you're still living your life and that you're still able to make time for the important things.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really easy I'm always neglecting something. That's just
Yeah.
the way of it. And then these are just some habits that I have sort of adopted based on all these, and this is a list of some of my favorite books. If you're a reader, they're,
Oh, that's wonderful, Julie. Thank you.
yeah.
I'm
And
always
so,
looking for recommendations for reading.
well, and if you want me to pick my favorites, I can do that. But I'm an avid reader, and I find, there's just a lot of takeaways, and just having something top of mind, it
Mhm.
makes you more likely to, just like your referral partners and your clientele, being top of mind. If I'm reminded I need to be grateful and how much gratitude enhances my life,
Mhm.
if it's not constantly in front of me, I tend to forget about it. And so for me, reading keeps
Mhm.
all this in front of me all the time. And does it keep me on track? Some days I get way off track.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you read a mixture of fiction and then self-help books like these. The fiction is such a great way to escape reality,
Absolutely.
which I really need from time to time. But yeah, what are your favorites from this list?
My favorite, probably my all-time favorite, is gonna be "You're a Badass" by Jen Sincero.
Yeah.
She's practical, she's funny. She cusses a lot in the book, which is interesting because you don't see that in written form very often. So if you're uncomfortable with that, you might not enjoy it.
No, it wouldn't bother me. That's probably
Yeah, but
her
it's
branding.
laugh out loud funny. And she's just raw, real, and just very, very practical. A lot of the ideas I've adopted have come from her, because she's just great. She's great. I think The Go-Giver by Bob Berg is excellent. It's a quick, easy read. It's
Mhm.
it's about taking sales from a point of contribution versus selling,
Oh,
which and giving back, and how it's an entire cycle of, you also, to be a giver, you also have to be a taker. And I don't mean a taker, I mean you have to receive. You have
yes.
to be
Ah,
willing
I
to
like
receive
that. Which book is
yourself.
that again?
The Go-Giver, Bob Berg.
The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, thank you.
I just read Crucial Conversations, which isn't on here. Probably one of the best books I've ever read on communication.
You know what that's by?
Pardon?
Who the author is?
I don't, but
Oh, no worries. I can find out.
Yeah,
Crucial Conversations.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's really good for communication if you struggle with that, which I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a very good communicator. I'm particularly not in my personal life. I have a hard time.
Oh,
I'm still learning.
you're
I'm
very
still
good
learning.
today, Julie.
Well,
Yes,
thank
I
you.
was surprised you saying that.
Yeah.
Well, it's, I tend to be, instead of responsive, I tend to be reactive.
It's good that you recognize that.
I do a lot of self-reflecting. That's for sure. That's
Yeah. You've got one of my favorite books on here, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People.
I love that book. It's so practical, and so yeah, I love all of, there's none of them I'd be like, The Outliers was probably one of the more difficult reads. Like the other ones
Yeah.
are light, but it's fascinating information. Also, what is her name?
So just really quick, I'm going to stop the recording. We're at the end, right, Julie?
Okay, yeah. So if you have any, if you need book recommendations, I have them aplenty.